Yo ho ho, Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another video where I give you absolutely terrible news. Ladies and gentlemen, that is right. We all understand that the NFL is chugging along and doing whatever they possibly can to make the NFL season happen. And so far, it seems like they figured it out, minus a couple of issues here with certain players testing positive going into it. But unfortunately, it is not the same for college football. Right, as you guys understand, the Big Ten Conference is the most recent conference to decide to not play in 2020, and there's legitimately just been several dominoes falling the past couple of weeks of specific collegiate conferences refusing to play in the fall. I wanted to do like a really short video and talk about, frankly, how the 2021 draft class for the Buffalo Bills is going to be, for lack of a better term. Right before we dive into the specifics, I need to make a huge announcement. Fan to Fan Network, you've heard me talk about this for the past couple of months. We are finally doing our live show this Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those of you who are maybe new to my channel and you haven't heard me talk about Fan to Fan Network, which is probably unlikely. I've been beating the shit out of this for God knows how long. It's going to be an exclusive online sports network similar to a Fox Sports, ESPN, but this time it's going to be tackled by some of the top YouTubers and content creators in the world of the NFL. Make sure you tune in at 4 p.m. I'm not sure what time I'll be on, but I'll go ahead and I'll send out a tweet. So make sure to follow me at RealDanMitchell on Twitter so you can be updated on exactly when you can see me rub the Buffalo Bills' future success in all of my counterparts' faces. So yeah, Don Mafia. So I'm sure the majority of you saw the news break. I mean, it was about an hour or so ago. The Big Ten Conference is most specifically the conference that houses, some big-name colleges such as Michigan, such as Ohio State, has decided to cancel the entire fall season. They're blowing smoke up people's asses and saying that they're going to try and play it in the spring, which I think is absolute bullshit. It's just not going to happen. But that is a huge death blow, especially once you consider that this was, I believe, the third conference that ended up canceling things. I know that Conference USA, I know that they canceled the majority of their programs. The MAC conference, which also houses the University of Buffalo, is completely done. And then now, most notably, the Big Ten. Unfortunately, this happened 3 or 4 days prior to when quarterback from Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, he started his own hashtag saying that he wanted to play, and it started bringing up a lot of conversation of how do collegiate athletes not have their own governing bodies, such as the NFLPA. Who knows what would have happened if that was the case. But guys, it is not looking good for college football this year. I mean, once the Big Ten ended up coming out, I'm not seeing the SEC, I'm not seeing the ACC. I mean, I think that it really doesn't make sense for any college football program to move forward in the fall, because I think conference play really isn't going to be that exciting. And the worst thing about it is the fact that when you start looking at some of these prospects coming in for the 2021 draft, it's frankly going to be fucking impossible to see whether or not that these high-level players can transition into the NFL, especially once you're eliminating specific conferences. I mean, honestly, let's be real. Let's look at the ACC. Who do they have? Clemson, right? It's going to be very difficult for us to see whether or not that certain players can match up against NFL caliber talent, because anybody that's not Clemson in the ACC is absolute trash. And then same thing goes with several other conferences. The powers really aren't equally spread apart unless, of course, you're the SEC. So, I mean, when it comes down to Brandon Beane's decision next year, and when it comes down to Sean McDermott's, I mean, let's hope that they ended up putting a lot of research on juniors or sophomores who they thought were about a year away from entering the draft, because it's legitimately going to be a gamble. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know that I have said from the beginning of time that the NFL draft is a gamble by itself. But at least there's scouts, and at least there's people who get paid 6 digits a year to watch these kids play on a regular basis to end up filling in these specific holes for the Buffalo Bills and for other NFL organizations. And I mean, it's fucked, man. It's fucked. Like, the draft next year, it's really going to be a gamble, and just, hey, I like that guy's last name. sounds like he'd look great in a Buffalo Bills uniform. It's really going to be hard to see whether or not that he could transition into the NFL, and it's going to be super tough. It really, really is. So, Dom Mafia, I definitely understand that this is some difficult times that we're dealing with, but luckily, like I said, this is the Buffalo Bills year. I think that we have a perfect roster whatsoever, and then once the 2021 draft makes some moves, then we'll address that once it happens. And so, Dom Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another video where I break some bad news. Next one, I promise, will be a little more upbeat. Let's go Buffalo.